In this film, I take a look at butterflies as symbols of hope and joy, both through my eyes and the experiences of others. In this first segment, two stories that affected me deeply run parallel to each other. In one story, my mother, Marilyn Rose, was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer in late November. In spite of the grim diagnosis, her strong faith sustained her.
Oh, how I love him, how I adore him, my breath, my sunshine, my all in all. The great Creator became my Savior, and all God's fullness dwelleth in him.
At the same time, Holly Barukovich, a horticulture worker for the Champaign Park District, found a monarch caterpillar at one of their sites, a very unusual discovery so late in the year. My husband Kirby and I are monarch butterfly conservationists. Randy Hauser, horticulture supervisor for the Park District, contacted us, asking for advice on how to raise the caterpillar. So while I cared for my mother in the final weeks of her life, I was also involved in the raising of a monarch caterpillar into a butterfly. As the days passed, the two stories merged in a most unexpected way.
There are so many neat offshoots of the story, the people visiting our office, literally saying hello to a New Year, a butterfly on New Year's. So you could count dozens of those magic moments. The one that the most magical to me, but it was probably January, and this was after many weeks of success. The butterfly, sipping the Gatorade from the cotton ball. We were all getting used to success, thinking this is going to go forever. And then one day it just did not eat. And I'm thinking, well, this is the end. So I called Holly, the person, saying, I know this means something to you. You might want to say goodbye to the butterfly. I made the same call to you all. And, there was sadness, but we were still, I guess, counting our blessings, saying, well, that was a nice, happy story in the middle of winter. But then when Cindy visited, I showed her how sluggish the butterfly was. We got it out of its cage, or its little enclosure, and then you had experience and history of, I think you put it on a Q-tip and basically dabbed the solution right near its snout or whatever it eats out of. And then, to me, to me, this is a spiritual moment. You, unprompted, unexpected, you had given me the brochure for your mother's service, memorial service. And a part of me is saying, well, why is Cindy giving me this? But it was, it was a very beautiful, well thought out thing. So I'm in the cluster of timing is still amazing to me, because while you're getting the butterfly ready, or trying to get it to eat the stuff, and then I'm looking at this brochure. It's a spiritual thing. I didn't know your mom. Didn't know your mom. But almost simultaneous with me looking at that, maybe looking at the photo of your mom, and then you feeding it, the butterfly flew. It erupted into almost a manic flight, and I still don't know where to put that. It just very, and I guess someone could say it's just luck or timing, whatever you want to call it. It was a very special moment.
I'm Rowena Gates. I have reached the incredible age of 103.
To celebrate Rowena's 103rd birthday on July 2nd, I let her release one of the newly emerged monarchs in the pollinator garden. As she lowered the butterfly onto a coneflower, it took flight, made a loop, and landed on her left cheek. We called it her birthday butterfly kiss.
Hi, I'm Kim Sari and I'm from Pewabic, Minnesota. We had a rescue dog named Ellie. Ellie had DM, which is degenerative myopathy. Ellie wasn't able to walk. She had to be carried with a help-em-up harness or go into a cart. Ellie was in the end stages of the disease, and she also had a bladder tumor, so she had a double whammy. She was at her house for 6 months and her bladder tumor ruptured. She loved to be in the garden. Her favorite thing was to sit on the patio with the flowers around her, and she loved the gardens. So on her final day with us, I took her outside for her last time outside, and there was a tiger swallowtail butterfly that circled her twice. Very slowly it went around her twice, and I was watching it, and I wished I had my camera with, but it was in the house. And it was her final time outside. It was like the butterfly was absorbing her energy. She watched it, and I watched it, and it flew away. And we had her in the house. The mobile vet came and euthanized her, and we said our goodbyes. And so for a week following Ellie's death, the same tiger swallowtail circled my gardens, and it would land on various different plants. And it always came right close by me and circled me, and I actually would talk to it, and I say, "Hi, Ellie, you came to see me," and I knew it was the same one because it was missing a piece of its tail. It stayed for, I think it was 5 days, and it disappeared. It went on its journey. I think it absorbed Ellie's energies and stayed around to make sure that I was okay without her. I'm gonna lose it now. It's hard, and the thing is, there's so much more from the whole thing that I wasn't able actually to put her ashes in here till the day before yesterday because I couldn't do it, But I think that the butterflies, I think they do carry energies, and I think when they're around you, that they're somebody that you lost, that they're letting you know they're okay, and they're keeping an eye on you, and they're just letting you know that life is still going on in another place, and that we're all going to be together. I think they're keepers of souls.
My sister is 15 years older than I am, and we have always been very close. She fulfilled a multitude of roles in my life. And in the later years, we became even closer because we both spent time caring for Mother in a nursing home. And after Mother died in 2006, we continued to visit that nursing home, which we still do. So that was a primary relationship that she and I had. And I started raising monarch butterflies in that nursing home where Mother lived in 2002. And for many years I kept a container there, and one of the residents would feed them. We planted milkweed, so there was a source of food. And when they emerged, he would walk the container around so all the residents could see what had happened to the chrysalis. And they'd go outside in little groups, and he would have a formal release party. And my sister and I were part of that. We followed the progress of the monarchs. So it isn't too surprising that when my sister died last month, that I would come home one day after not seeing more than a handful of monarchs all summer long, that I would turn the corner to my street and there would be a big, bright, beautiful monarch playing in my Parkway garden. I live in the middle of the city of Chicago, and there are gardens, but not as many as there once were. So I planted my Parkway with budelia butterfly bushes and milkweed. And this was my first summer of having a really full-grown crop of milkweed. And as I turned the corner onto my street, this butterfly was dancing in the milkweed, so I walked very carefully over. And I just felt the connection, and I watched it lay eggs. And it wasn't just laying an egg and leaving, as they always do when they see a person nearby. It danced around me. It flew back and forth, and it landed in the milkweed and laid more eggs. I knew it was a female. And it danced some more, and it went out across the street, and it came back and played in the milkweed and laid more eggs and circled me. I was covered in goosebumps, as I am now as I tell this story. And I don't want to say it was my sister, but somehow I knew that it meant something, that it meant that there was an energy flowing and that the nature had connected them, the butterfly and my sister, to me. And I had a sense of peace. This was a week after she died, a sense of real peace that overcame me. You know, it didn't stop me from grieving. I miss her terribly. But it gave me this sense of hopefulness that life does go on in some form. And I can't help but feel, really, I deeply believe, that the moment of death for us has the same sensation that the butterfly emerging from the chrysalis experiences. And in that still space where you look at it and think nothing's happening, this miracle of transformation is occurring, that this gelatin becomes a butterfly. And one day it emerges, and when they do, I often watch them sitting in my kitchen looking at the containers, and I think about what that must feel like to be born in a new form. And when I take the butterflies outside, I try to think of how and feel what that first flight must feel like.